The circle of fifths is kind of amazing. This one circle can tell you which notes go together and which chords go together, and that's important whether you're playing music or trying to write your own music. Today I'm going to show you 7 useful things you can do with the circle of fifths straight away. Number 1, sharps and flats in a key. Want to find the sharps in a key? Easy peasy, you just need to know the pattern. There is one pattern to work out the sharp keys, which are on the right hand side of the circle, and there's another pattern to work out the flat keys, which are on the left hand side of the circle. For sharps, every time we go up a fifth, we add a sharp. So the keys of G major or E minor have 1 sharp and F. The next keys, D major or B minor, have 2 sharps, F and C, and you start to see a pattern emerging. And the pattern is that we need to keep a 1 segment space between the key you're looking for and the final sharp in the key. Let's say that you want to find the sharps that are in the key of B major. The sharps will be clockwise from F, so F, C, G, D, and A. You stop at A, as that is 1 segment before B. You can see this space here. So the key of B has 5 sharps, F, C, G, D, and A. The reason that knowing the sharps or flats in a key is actually helpful for you is that, say you're playing this track Dolly Dagger by Jimi Hendrix. If you know that the song is in the key of B major, even before you start playing it, you can anticipate the notes that you're going to play, which are these ones here. For flats, we have another pattern. Every time we go up a fourth, we add a flat, but the flat will be the next segment along. So the key of F major or D minor will have a B flat. The next key of B flat or G minor will have 2 flats. It will have an E flat as well as the B flat from before. And you can just transfer this pattern around. So the key of D flat, for example, will have 5 flats. It will have B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, and then we'll go 1 beyond that, so we go G flat as well. Also, it's worth pointing out that there are some circle of fifths that show you the sharps or flats in every key without you having to work it out every time or remember long mnemonics, like this circle of fifths, which is available on my Patreon page. Number 2, choosing a scale for a solo. This is a really easy one. The first scale pretty much everyone learns is the minor pentatonic scale. And if I put on an A minor backing track, I'm good to go with the A minor pentatonic scale. But if I'm improvising over a major backing track, like one in D major, what minor pentatonic scale shape do you choose? All you need to do is find the D on the outside circle and it'll just be the relative minor, which is B minor on the inside circle. So I can use the B minor pentatonic scale to improvise over a D major backing track. And that's because the notes that make up the B major scale are exactly the same notes which make up the D major scale. Number 3, which chords sound good together? The closer the chords appear together in the circle, the more closely they are related in sound. So a C major chord will sound good played with a G major chord, and those 2 chords share a note. That also means that chords which are distant on the circle won't work together very well. So a C major wouldn't typically work well played with an F sharp major. The set of chords which are most closely related because they are built from the same scale are called diatonic chords, and they're easy to find on the circle of fifths. So for example, the diatonic chords in the key of C major will be C major. The 2 chords clockwise and anti-clockwise, so F major and G major, and also their relative minors, so A minor, D minor, and E minor. And we'll also have a B diminished, which is the next minor chord along. And as an example, one of the most common progressions in pop music is the 1, 5, 6, 4 progression. So we'd have C major, G major, A minor, and F major. And some popular songs that have used this progression over the years are Someone You Loved by Lewis Capaldi, No Woman No Cry by Bob Marley, or Soul to Squeeze by Red Hot Chili Peppers, and also tons of others. The Australian comedy band Axis of Awesome made light of how regularly this particular chord progression is used, and if you're a fan of musical comedy or just like grainy old 240p videos, you can check that out. If you want a sadder chord progression, you can use the same set of chords, but start from the relative minor instead. So A minor in this case. Number 4, blues progressions. Another easy one, and following on from the diatonic chords, in blues, we use the 1, 4, and 5 chords. So to find them, for example, in the key of G, you'll take the G, I'm going to play a G7, because it's a blues, as your home chord, and also the chords clockwise and anti-clockwise. So you could have a C7 and a D7. And you can build a blues progression around this, like G7, C7, G7, a C7, G7, D7, C7, G7. Yeah. Number 5, borrowed chords. Before we get into borrowed chords, if you find this video helpful, please give it a like, and that would really help me out. Let me know in the comments if there are any music theory questions that you would like answered. So I went through how to create the diatonic chords, but what makes music interesting is not always choosing the safest options. Sometimes you need to push the boat out a little bit. And this is where the borrowed chords come in. In the key of C, I can choose other chords which are close to the C on the circle. So for example, I can swap the B diminished chord, because that's a tricky chord to use the progression, with a B flat major chord. That substitution is one of the most commonly used in rock music and implies the very common Mixolydian mode. Jimi Hendrix used that Mixolydian chord in The Wind Cries Mary, which goes C major, B flat, and F. After all the jacks are in their boxes. Number 6, trips around the circle. People like listening to chords which go up a fifth, so you can go around the circle clockwise and just pick every chord as you go along. So if I start from C, I could choose C, G major, D major, and A major. And you get the chords to Hey Joe by Jimi Hendrix. Hey Joe, I said, where you going with that gun in your hand? Going around the circle can also smooth out chord transitions. So if I went from a C major to an A major, it will sound quite jarring, but if I go around in fifths, by the time I get to the A, it actually feels quite natural. If I go the other way around the circle, so I can start from the A minor, and then D minor 7, G7, C major 7, F major, in E7, I get Fly Me to the Moon. And I know I mixed up major and minor chords there, but with trips around the circle, the pull of the chords going down a fifth is so strong that you can get away with it. And you can use this trick yourself if you want to come up with your own jazz-type progressions. Number 7, chord tones. You can find patterns within the circle of fifths which help you find the notes which make up chords. So for example, the notes which make up the C major chord triad are C, E, and G. If I now want to find out the notes which make up the E flat major chord triad, for example, all I need to do is copy the shape and start from E flat instead. So I'd have E flat, G, and B flat. And once I know the notes to any chord, I can then copy that shape. So here's the minor triad shape, or here's the dominant 7 shape. And if you found any of the music theory in today's video confusing, I will check out this video next, where I go through the fundamentals of music theory.